Part 1 of the tank build. So if you haven't already caught up on my aquatic plants update, that is the previous video that I've just filmed and will be uploaded immediately before this one. So if you want an update on that, you can go there. It's a shorter type of video where I just explain to you where I got with my aquatic plants update, the tank, and where I've gotten to a point where I've realized that this is the project that I'm going to do. And today is all about that. So I'm really excited to get started. So the tank is completely clean. I haven't seen it this clean since I got it, with everything removed. It is kind of mad to see it like this. I've gotten all of my equipment and materials and things that I need to make this beautiful piece, and I'm really hoping it works out because there are a couple of things in here that I haven't used before and I haven't tried, so I'm hoping that it all goes very well. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to talk about the plan for the project and what I've kind of planned out in my head. Next, we'll go through materials and things that I'm going to use to create the setup, and then we're going to set it up. Part 2 of this video is going to be putting in the plants. So I'm going to show you everything first about how I set it up, and then the next video will be actually planting it up, which will be kind of the final reveal, which I'm hoping will be a big spectacular thing that I don't know what it's going to look like yet, so that will be great. Yeah, so the plan. The plan is that I'm going to have a bottom drainage type layer using leca. I'm then going to have a permeable kind of cover over that. I'll show you in the materials I'm going to use next. I'm going to have a permeable cover to cover that bottom layer, and then on top of that I'm going to put some substrate. So I'm going to use something that's not super dissimilar to the normal substrate that I would use. If you're looking for a deep dive on different types of substrates that you can use in a mix, I've recently done a big video all about them. And then for the back face of the tank, I'm going to use cork board and some cork bark kind of mixed, hoping that looks really good. So I'm gonna have a slight climbing element, but obviously because we're limited in height here, I'm not going to be putting any big plants in that are going to climb like crazy within 2 weeks and then be out of here, but just something to have a kind of a background on. I am also going to put in some branches and things going across, so it's going to create hopefully a kind of a jungly vibe in here. So I also will have lighting and airflow situation, and I don't have a cover for this tank. We did have one when I bought it, but that is long gone. That was thrown away because my turtle, I created a kind of a walkway for her to have a dry area that sat on top of the tank, so we never needed it. So I don't have a cover, but I may be using something like cling film is what we call it here. I think in America you call it some kind of wrap, saran wrap or something. That kind of plasticky thing that will keep the moisture and humidity in and kind of create its own ecosystem. I also, from my prop box upstairs, I have, and I never even put them in, but I have a little community of springtails that are, well and truly thriving in that tiny prop box upstairs. And they do so much work in that little ecosystem for processing decayed plant material and just keeping things not moldy and not stagnant. It's really quite insane, and all there is leca and water. So I'm gonna hopefully transplant some of that population into my substrate, and I hope that's going to help turn it over. So to be honest, I think with any project like this, you know, there's going to be a period of kind of things settling out and working themselves out. So I think that whenever I approach something like this, of which I don't have that much experience at all, as you may know, there's always going to be an awkward period and it may look a bit shit for a while, but I have faith in things working themselves out. I definitely had that with the prop box, and now it's, like I said, this functioning little ecosystem somehow. I then also did my carnivorous plant terrarium, of which I learned so much about that process. There are a million things I would have done differently that I'm going to hopefully apply those things to this, including a different type of substrate, and definitely including charcoal as well in the mix to help processing of materials in there. That is it. That is the main plan. At the moment, the light that I have is the light that my turtle used to have, which is kind of a spot lamp, and the bulb that's in it provides heat and UV lights, and I grew just houseplants on the top of the tank with that pretty well. So I have that for now. I was looking online on what to replace that with. If I got a light over the entire top, I still might do that, but I don't have it right now. There was nothing I found that really fit the situation that I wanted. But yeah, so that is essentially the plan. And I hope it really gets executed the exact way that I want it to, but it may not. So let's get on to the materials that I have for this project. And this is probably going to be quite a long video, even though it's going to be a two-parter. So for the back wall, I have this general purpose silicone that I picked up that should be suitable for this. Baths, showers, basin, other household areas, watertight seal, permanently flexible. And this is what I'm going to use to stick the cork stuff to the back wall of the tank. And the cork stuff, so I'm kind of reusing actually quite a bit of stuff that I have. So I have this kind of cork board material that I have in various different shapes and sizes from when I did the cork wall in the office. I have loads of this stuff in different sizes, different lengths, everything, because I just cut whatever I needed and I knew I would use them for something. And the back of these now have a sticky, so you can peel it off. And they're meant to be sticky, but the sticky's really bad. So what I did on the cork wall was I had these command strips and I just used to use them to have some strength. Now, as the wall has reached the ceiling now, I actually have nailed it in because I just couldn't deal with my huge epipremnum. If you've seen it, please go watch the video because it is probably my most impressive plant. But the weight of that, it needed to be nailed in. So I have these and I'm going to peel off the back and then hopefully use the silicone on that. I also have something else that I bought for another project that I never used, story of my life, but this is cork board. So it's essentially, yeah, it looks like, I don't know, it's kind of an amazing material. It is kind of spongy and squishy, but yeah, it's essentially just cork bark. It's cool. The back is obviously, as you can see, not straight and has all these bits on. So I'm kind of hoping to cut this up into little bits and stick it on in between the like normal cork board. I'm probably going to cover everything with the cork board and then put these on in little raised sections. I originally bought this to mount my staghorn fern on, but then it did so fantastically in the pot that I was like, if I put this on a board and I hang it up and I have moss and stuff, I will never water it and that plant will die. So we're repurposing it. So that is what I have for the wall. For the substrate then, I have a big bag of leca that I'm going to wash before I put it into this, because often leca can have kind of a lot of dust in the bag and stuff. Now, I had this bag already and it's it's pretty much full. And I just went to the garden centre to get a second one because I wasn't sure it would be enough, and they didn't have any. So this bag has to be enough or it's going to ruin my plans for the day. So I have leca. Then I have my big kind of pole of material to put on top of the leca. So this is like a garden material, like water can go through it, even though it's quite plasticky. You can cut little holes in it as well if need be. I originally got this for the carnivorous plant terrarium and they didn't have like a small amount of it. So I bought this whole roll and it has been sitting just waiting to be used for another project. So this is quite a lot of it, so I'm definitely gonna have enough. And that's going to go on top of the leca. So for the substrate, I have all my typical stuff essentially, but I probably am going to modify it a bit, but I'm going to mix it as I go. I have coconut coir, of which again, the garden centre just happened to be out of that again today, so I'm hoping I have enough. I have worm castings. I have orchid bark mix because I couldn't get bark on its own. I have leftover sphagnum moss that I have from a gift from 100 million years ago that are probably decayed, but I'm going to just add that in. I have perlite. That's essentially it. So I have all those bags of stuff ready to mix in. I have a tiny little black fan that I have plugged in that I picked up from Amazon specifically for this. That was a big learning curve on the carnivorous plant terrarium, which is over there. Airflow was way more important than I expected. Now, the carnivorous plant terrarium isn't covered on the top, but this one will be, so I'm probably going to cut a hole in the cling film on the other side of where the fan is so that air can get pushed through. Let's hope that works out. And then I have the lamp, like I said, that I already have. I do have a new bulb for it because the UV only lasts so long and you have to replace them every couple of months. It's probably time to replace, to be honest, just in case. If you can see, I have a big bag of branches. This is my little collection of my favorite branches that I use for different projects and different plants. So I'm going to utilize some of these in there. Some little bits of wood when I thought it was going to be an aquatics setup. I think this is called spider wood, but I have a couple of different pieces of this stuff. So I don't know, it can be in an aquarium so it doesn't rot and stuff. There may be slight issues with rot on the wood that I have, but it'll be fine. Yeah, so I have these. I also then have some super glue gel for sticking some air plants around the place on branches, maybe on the back wall, I'm not sure, but just for sticking stuff that I need to. I'm not going to use that, like I said, to attach the cork bark to the back. I'm only going to use silicone. Speaking of, I am a little bit worried about the application of that silicone because typically, like, you would need either gravity or a clamp to hold the silicone in place while it dries and sets. I don't have gravity because I can't flip this tank on the side. It is so incredibly heavy, that's just impossible, and I feel like it would break. I don't really have clamps either, so I don't really know how to do that. That is probably the only thing that worries me a bit about this setup. We'll find out. But that is everything I have. Obviously, plants. I will be using some from the plant haul that I just recently put up. The air plants in that plant haul will be going in, and potentially just any other plants that I see around my setup that would do better in here, or don't have a place somewhere else or something like that. As far as planting the plants in, I'm not quite sure yet how I feel about actually planting them all in the substrate at the bottom. I might actually just put them in pots in there as well, just so it's not so permanent for some of them in case some of them don't do well. But some plants that I just don't really care about, I will just throw in a couple of cuttings there or something and see if they'll crawl along the substrate. So those are all the materials. That's everything I have. That's my plan. And now let's start this mammoth task. So I hope that you enjoy. Let's get started. So here it is. I mean, it does have this little kind of lip here, which was for kind of the top, but also where her kind of climbing area used to sit on. It's in pretty good condition. The silicone is all still good, but there are some marks that were impossible to get off. There's also some scratches, as she used to love. You know, if we put anything in there, she would be bashing it around, so it normally got removed. But yeah, that is what it looks like, and we better get started. Hello, it is the next day. This is currently where we are at. So I kind of propped up all of these sticks and different bits, including these hair clips, to kind of press some weight against the corkboard while the silicone kind of hardens and dries. Now, I wasn't feeling very confident in the silicone sticking yesterday to this corkboard, so I don't actually know if it has worked or not. This was a fear of mine, and maybe I should have considered something different, but I didn't want to like super glue or anything that would be kind of permanent or difficult to remove from the tank in the future if I did want to use it again for water or a different setup or something. So I wanted it to be silicone so it can easily be just scraped off. So I don't really know how well this is holding, but it may be okay for now, and we can just see how it does. If it comes away, I'll have to redo it obviously, but we're just gonna see. Okay, so the next few bits I want to do, I want to cut parts of this cork bark and kind of super glue it on to various parts of the background and just make it kind of look a bit haphazardy. I don't know, I haven't really planned that much on that side, but I'm going to super glue those bits on just onto the corkboard. I'm going to remove all the branches. That's my dog's ball falling on the ground. And then I'm going to start putting in the substrate. So this is day 2 of this process. I've got my hair cut. So this is why I look different today. So let's continue. It is 1 week later and we still haven't completed the setup, okay? So picking up from last time, I ordered 2 additional bark pieces, which I will show you now. So 2 more of these came in the post, and so I want to add these to the background. I couldn't do that because they had not yet arrived. On top of that, I have actually used all of the super glue that I had, and I don't have any more. So today I'm just going to play with like the placement of these, and then tomorrow I'm going to go to the shop, pick up more glue, and then we can like finally stick these on. I'm just not going to the shop today. It's just one of those days. I'm not leaving the house. It's just, that's the way it is. So that will wait for tomorrow. So there we are. Here she is in all of her glory. That is where I'm going to leave part 1 of this video. So that is the entire setup, everything I've done so far. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And up next, we'll have part 2, where we'll do really the funnest part of all of this, which is the planting and decorating. So I have various different plants, some from my new haul, some not. And in the next video, we're going to plant it up, and then you will see the final reveal of it all. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you very soon in part 2 of this terrarium build. Bye!